Welcome back to our Reddit World channel. Today we will be looking at
Men of Reddit, how do you handle being alone? The only time I feel really lonely and yearning for any type of romantic connection is when I am laying in bed awake. I remedy this by exhausting myself during the day, so as soon as my head hits the mattress I am asleep, and as soon as I wake up I get out of bed. I'm just used to it, I guess. I've always been someone who prefers my own company, so it's just the norm for me. Sometimes I cry. I have my inner voice in my head always insulting me, so I'm not necessarily alone. Pretty well, except for the lack of S3X. I have no problem being alone. I love it. I put a lot of time in hobbies and some into self-discovery. What deeply troubled me is the fear of never being in love again with a woman who loved me back, where we like to give each other what we like to give. But ultimately, how much I worry about that doesn't change how it's gonna be one bit. So I try not to. On all other ends I'm pretty good. I have great friends, hobbies, a good job. I need to find someone to cuddle with regularly, though. I don't even miss S3X that much anymore. The lack of skin contact is what gets me. Alone? Great. Lonely? Where did I put that rope? Mildly suicidal joke aside, I'm doing fine being alone. But not having at least a meaningful talk for days quickly drives me crazy. Honestly, it just hit me one day where I'm perfectly content with being alone. I'm a fairly extroverted person, but maybe have two friends I talk to often. It just kinda hit me one day in the silence of my apartment where I was like, hey, this is okay. Been very content with my life since then. It's such a great feeling. I got a new job and suddenly had Thursdays off. Man, nobody has Thursday off, nothing is ever going on. I was a little hacked off about it, until about 7:30 AM on the first Thursday. Holy crap. I can do whatever I want, all day, and nobody can stop me. Get a hobby. Or several. Put effort in yourself. It's all fun and nice until you realize it's not filling your real needs. Determining your real needs is a fairly lengthy and worthwhile pursuit in and of itself. Once you figure out what you want, plugging in activities that fill it is comparatively easy. Even doing the same activities you always do becomes more fulfilling once you realize why you're doing them. This 100%. I have a lot of engaging hobbies and interests, pursuits that keep me well occupied. And am happy with and within those hobbies. They keep my mind and body healthy, active, and stimulated enough to where I rarely find myself wishing I had friends. And like most friendships, once you get to know someone well, you also get to learn about all their baggage, and you either wind up with the kind of friend who will use you, or the kind who doesn't. In my experiences, it's been the kind that try to use you. And then the whole experience leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Frick that. I'd rather just be content with my hobbies and happy with no bullshit on the side. I was single for 10 years. Jesus, God, I don't know how I did it. Except to say the same thing I used to tell people when they found out how long it had been since I had sex and they said, "How do you live?" It turns out you can't die of it. You want to. But you can't. Finally got a GF on the rebound from her divorce, and it lasted a year before she dumped me. I don't know how I'm going to do it again. But it turns out, you can't die from it. When I realized that even after doing everything right with a woman, including having good S3X, that they will still leave you. That's when I realized that I am okay being alone, and that I deserve self-respect. I like solitude, sometimes a little too much. I could easily spend a couple weeks holed up at home without seeing or speaking to anyone, just catch up on some projects and R&R. I'm fine going out to dinner, or the movies, or festivals by myself. But it still gets lonely from time to time, especially as friends have married off and are starting families. Going to concerts solo got me through my middle 20s. I actually loved it. I had to move back to Chicago, where I was born and raised, from Los Angeles, where I went to college and lived for 7 years. It was crushing, that 2008 recession. But, taking the L, and living alone, and hitting up every single concert I wanted to, was amazing. If I didn't go to concerts solo, I'd have missed a lot of shows, just because I don't know anyone else who likes those groups, and that would be silly. Only thing I hate is the middle portions between sets, gets boring without anybody else. I actually had tickets to see my favorite band last week, bought in February. But I didn't, because obvious reason. Step 1. Power supply. Step 2. Wi-Fi. Step 3. Computer. That's all I need, baby. A lot of men actually like being by themselves, even in a relationship. Being alone isn't usually the problem, it's more the sexual frustration side of things that get a little more complicated. What is yours way of handling being alone?
Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe or you will have a bad dream.